Hey guys, this is Smriti. Welcome to my channel. If you guys are new here, welcome, and if you guys have already been subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for subscribing. Today's video, we're going to test out two CC Creamish products. Both of them are from the drugstore, but one a little cheaper than the other. So we're going to test both of these products out. I have both of these on either side of my faces. So we're going to do a wear test, dig into this, whether one is more beneficial than the other. We're going to find it out in the video itself. So if you want to see which one stands better than the other, then please keep on watching. So first, let's talk about the Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator by Wet n Wild. This comes in 12 shades. Although when I picked up mine in the Walmart, I think I could find like 5 shades in my local Walmart. So if you are not finding your shade, I would say check their Wet n Wild website. You would find 12 shades available there. This retails for $5.99, so pretty cheap, I would say, but very comparable to their Wet n Wild foundation. Just that this is a little more of a lesser coverage than their original foundation. So when we talk about the amount that is in the product, the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator comes with 0.91 fluid ounce and it retails for $5.99, and the e.l.f. CC Cream comes with 1.05 ounce, a tiny little bit more, I would say, but it comes for $14. So just keep that in mind. Now this claims on being hydrating, and this has hyaluronic acid and vegan squalene in it. It provides sheer to buildable coverage. It gives a semi-matte finish for all the skin types, benefits with a smooth, silky, non-greasy complexion. I can agree to all what they are saying because I could see, and this is a side with Wet n Wild in it, and as you can see, it doesn't feel like heavy or cakey or anything like that. It was very sheer to medium buildable coverage, and it does give like a semi-matte finish. I have a very light dusting of my Hourglass finishing powder on my skin. So whatever like the natural finish that you're seeing on my skin is coming through the CC creams that we have tried so far. So I do agree to the claims that the Wet n Wild side is giving. Now the downside of the Wet n Wild tinted moisturizer is that it does not have sunscreen in it, so you definitely do need to apply a sunscreen underneath this. Now let's move on to the e.l.f.'s Camo CC Cream. This comes in 20 shades, so the shade variety is really good on the e.l.f.'s website, and this retails for $14, which is pretty up high according to the e.l.f. prices. At least that's what I feel. Generally, when I think of e.l.f., I generally feel like $5, $6, $8 maximum. But 14 was definitely quite a jump for CC Cream from e.l.f., I would say. But they do have like a shade matching. They have a virtual try-on on their website. So let's look at the claim, what the e.l.f. is saying. So it says medium to full coverage foundation, which we definitely saw a good amount of coverage when we applied this. With a natural finish. It is formulated with SPF of 30, which is absolutely great. It's a multitasking foundation that provides skincare benefits. It's infused with hydrating and youth-boosting ingredients to improve the skin texture and the tone. They say our shade match guarantee allows you to buy with confidence. Now, I would say when I was buying my shade from their website, I picked out my shade in 330W. Just according to the swatches and the picture that was showing, and even when I did my shade match, that is what came across. The next shade after 330W is 355, which is medium with warm undertones. Now, I do not want to lean a lot warm just because I am really good with like neutral undertones. So yeah, I felt like if I went like one more shade darker, it would have been like too dark for me. so yeah, I have to figure that out. Not that it really mattered because we definitely made it work out, but initially when we applied it, we could see the difference, you know. So yeah, so that's how I feel. I definitely do agree to the claims. I generally myself apply this with sponge, but talking about the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator, I can apply this with my fingers, with the brush, with the sponge. Everything works out pretty good. When I applied this with the brush, it looked a little cakey, I would not lie. When I applied with the fingers, I do not like applying anything with my fingers. I do not like the feeling of touching foundation with the fingers. I don't know, I just don't like makeup on my fingertips. Then I would feel that I'll make everything dirty around me. So yeah, I don't like that, but I did apply it with my fingers, but I could see like dry spots around the perimeters of my face, which I was not a fan of. So I would say if you are around like a combo skin like me, I would prefer to apply it with the sponge. That's my preferred way of applying. So let's begin. Let's get the elephant out of the room. Ignore my hair completely. I just took a shower. Kids are napping. So this is the right time for me to review. So today I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator on this side of the face, and I'm going to use the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream on this side of the face. Now, both of them are from Drugstore. Both of them are somewhat like CC Creams is what they claim. It's like a moisturizer with a pigment in it. So very, very similar in the industry, but one is much, much more cheaper than the other. So in the Wet n Wild Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator, I am in the shade Tan Medium Deep. So let's test it out. Now this comes in a squeezy tube, which I really like. I'm not gonna lie, I have tested both these products prior. Shade wise, for me, I prefer the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator, and I prefer brush with this. I'm just gonna spread it out a little bit. We're not gonna judge the shade because this is gonna be completely different, because one has more of a neutral undertone and the other one has more of a warm undertone. But generally speaking, Wet n Wild foundations work wonderfully on my skin. When I tested this out like the first time, I did not have any doubts that I would like this. The only complaint would be, it's not even a complaint because it says that it will give sheer to medium coverage, and I have quite a bit of spots on my face. So yeah, it definitely gives coverage, as you can see. As compared to this side of the face, this evened out my skin tone pretty nicely, and it is a little bit buildable too. So I'm gonna put another layer just so that you guys can see, and then I'm just gonna build it up on the areas where I really need it. Again, super lightweight on the skin, and it matches pretty nicely. Now the downside of this tinted moisturizer, I would say, is the shade range is not pretty huge. So this is the side with Wet n Wild on it, and this is with 2 layers on it. Let me just adjust my camera so that I can come a little more closer to you. So as you can see, it evened out my skin tone here. It looks completely like my skin, nothing overly like makeup or anything, very lightweight, as the name suggests. Now this doesn't have any SPF in it, so I would definitely ask you to put SPF before you apply this tinted hydrator. Now let's move on to the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream. This says that this is a color correcting full coverage natural finish with collagen, peptides and niacinamide in it, and this also has a broad spectrum of SPF 30 in it. Now in the CC cream, I am in the shade medium 330W. I have a few thoughts. I do not like this with foundation brush. Very honestly speaking, e.l.f. foundations has never worked out for me, but this actually looks pretty nice with a sponge. So I'm just gonna take one pump for now, and I'm just gonna put it right on my skin. Just spread it around just the same way I did my Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator, and then we'll build it out if we need more. I tested this out with the brush and I did not like it. I really did not. So as you can see, it's definitely, the shade is completely off. It is a tad bit lighter and a tad bit warmer, I would say. If this was a neutral undertone, I think this would match pretty well. But this is much more warm. That's my mistake. That's not e.l.f. mistake. But we are gonna see how it's gonna cover. How is it gonna wear throughout the day? I'm just gonna blend the center just because I should not look pretty crazy, I would say. I didn't know it's that off, but yeah, it is. Oh, you can clearly see it in the monitor. Okay. What do we do? I'm just gonna push the sponge on the other side where it's clean, and I'm just gonna go over everything. And for that matter, one pump was really enough to cover a lot on this side of the skin. So if I come a little closer, you can see my skin still peeking through, but nothing heavy on the skin, I would say. Man, I look crazy. Okay, so we're gonna see if this is buildable or not. So I'm just gonna take literally a tiny amount, definitely not even half a pump, I would say. Just a tiny little amount, and just go over my blemishes. and see if this is gonna cover it or not. Hopefully when we put all the concealer and stuff, everything would come together. So as you can see, it definitely covered up my blemish. So that's nice. Just because this is much more of a fuller coverage, I want to apply a tiny little more of the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator on the other side. And I'm going to go over with a sponge. I'm going to take the cleaner side and I'm just going to go over it just to give a little more coverage. Just because we are more of a full coverage on this side, as you can see. The undertone is still going to be a little weird, but we're still going to make it work. I would say a little better. Now let's move on with the concealer. So I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm just going to take my ColourPop concealer and just apply a tiny little bit. Literally, I'm not going to go any crazy with anything. I'm just going to lightly set everything with my Hourglass face palette, and I'm just going to use that all over my face. So that's how everything is looking after the makeup. On my eyes, I just used my Nabla Secret palette. Nothing major. I just used Contigo in my crease, this on my lid, and then I just topped it off with this shade. That's it. And on my lips, I have Maybelline's Lifter Gloss in the shade Stone. So yes, so this would be like my first view of how everything is looking like. I'll pop up after a few hours just for a check-in. So that you guys can see how it looks at the end of the day. But yes, so far I don't feel like a big distinction in how my makeup is looking. But yes, I'll just pop up after a few hours. So this, what you're seeing, is definitely 2 hours after I applied the whole foundation routine. I went upstairs, I made some food, coffee, I did my hair because, you know, when I started this video, I was looking like a wreck. So yeah, so this is the 2-hour check-in point. Right now, the time is 4 o'clock. So I might put this for around 3 more hours and I'll pop up again, just to make sure that everything works out seamlessly and how everything is looking so far. But so far, so good. Individually, when I applied both of these, both of them applied pretty good is what I would say. So yeah, we'll pop up after 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, and then see how it looks after like 6-hour mark. And then we'll give final thoughts. But right now, I'm feeling both of the sides are looking pretty good. Nothing greasy or anything. I generally tend to produce oils right in the T-zone. So I think I might expect, like towards the end of the day, I might expect oils around the nose or in the forehead. But right now, it's all set. It's all good to go. So everything works out properly right now. Hey guys, so this is going to be my final check-in. It's been around 6 to 7 hours, I would say, right between that. And whatever you're seeing on my face right now is with the artificial lighting. You can see the background being a little dark just because I generally film in the natural light, and now it's an artificial light, which is helping me. But whatever. As far as I can see pretty closely, both of them have stayed pretty nicely on my skin. As you can see, there's not much of like really of a great shine coming through, I would say. I don't feel oily or sticky or anything like that. Comparing both the sides, I actually feel a little more dewy on this side as compared to this side, but it can be because e.l.f. foundation generally has a lot of hydration in it, and that's why I'm feeling it. Not that I'm feeling like tightness on this side or anything like that. I feel very comfortable on both the sides. It wore out pretty nicely. I can feel a little bit more of a cakey around my nose on the e.l.f. side. On the Wet n Wild side, it's absolutely fine. All in all, I don't think that none of them is like bad or anything, but I will still prefer Wet n Wild over the e.l.f. one, just because one, it's like $6. So even if you get like 2 of this, it costs less than the e.l.f. I'm so sorry. My boys are like riding scooters all throughout the house. So yeah, you would hear them in the background. But yeah, I was saying, so even if you get 2 products of Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator, You'll still be a little more cost effective in the price scenario, but again, make sure that you are wearing an SPF underneath this. This already has SPF, so that's the main plus point is what I am seeing so far. But on my combo skin, both of them have worn pretty nicely. 6 to 7 hours check-in, I think, for a tinted moisturizer is good enough just to know if the oils are coming through the foundation or not. But I really don't feel any oiliness or anything. I feel a little more shiny on this side as compared to this side. That's what I feel. Like price wise, I would say this is better because it's giving a natural, you can build it up to a good medium coverage. I would say first layer would be a sheer, second layer would be a medium, but you can definitely build it up. This also gives a very nice coverage. Again, SPF, no SPF. So that's the basic gist of what I'm feeling so far. But both of them work pretty beautifully on my medium combo skin type. So that's all for today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this foundation CC cream review on my medium combo skin tone. If you like this video and the review and the wear test, everything, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video.